Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hey, this is for any author who is a nonfiction author and published. Do you have an audiobook? I'll bet you, if you said you were an author, probably you don't. Probably you don't. You're not at that point yet. You should be. And we're going to talk about the benefits of having an audiobook today. And that's courtesy of a guy who helps you record your own audiobook using your own voice. He does all the training. It is easy. It's fantastic, and you'll love the results. And we're going to talk about why you should be doing it. There's lots of reasons. Robert Lane Coaching is the company. Robert Lane is with us today. Robert, welcome. How you doing?
Oh, good. Thank you, Steve. Always good to be here, and always good to talk audiobooks.
It is emerging faster and faster. More and more people are, first it was Kindles, back in the day where you'd read it on your screen. Almost nobody uses tablets. And I do marketing. I see the stats what people are using. Tablets are kind of gone. And I just bought one. I haven't used it yet. Not even kidding. I bought a new one. I figured, all right, you know what? Let me upgrade. It was on, Amazon Prime Day, and I have yet to set it up. But audiobooks, many reasons why people should be absorbing their favorite nonfiction books through an audiobook. How about some of the benefits? Let's go there.
Yeah, there are a lot of great benefits. If you're a published nonfiction author and you have this great book, you've told this fantastic story, and you have it in written word and you have it published out there, or maybe you're a coach, or maybe you're an entrepreneur or an educator or even a poet, and you have this awesome book published, yet you don't have it in audiobook form. You need to put it in your own voice because you wrote it, you lived it, you experienced it, and only you can tell your story the way it was meant to be heard. So that's kind of a given there. It just completely makes sense as the next step to take your book. Now, of course, the benefits, as Steve mentioned, the audiobook business is always continually growing and expanding. It grows roughly about 26.4% in sales annually, so it's continually growing. I know you mentioned about ebooks, and audiobooks has surpassed sales over ebooks, though people still do buy the ebook version and the paperbacks and the hardcovers and the audiobook, which is another benefit because you're giving your readers / listeners now another format for you to be able to enjoy the book that you've written, and they can hear it. And a lot of people still buy the ebook, paperback, or hardcover and the audiobook as well because they like to listen and they like to read along. And the beauty about you being a nonfiction author is that it's your voice. You get to tell your story in your own voice. And it works so well. I've done surveys of asking people, who would you rather hear? And when it comes to a nonfiction book, and 9 out of 10 times, it's like, I want to hear the author tell the story because it's their story.
And you get to know them. You feel, you're reading the book for a reason. Why'd you buy it?
Yes.
Why'd you do that? You had intent, you had interest, and now hearing the author who put that whole book together is, I think, so impactful. Just the feeling that's coming from them because they had something to convey to you and you bought that book.
That's right. And another benefit of you narrating your own audiobook is that you immediately establish an intimate connection with that listener, because that listener feels like you're talking directly to them.
Yep.
And that is such a great connection. And again, since it's your style, your unique way of telling your story, you really connect to people who connect with you, especially if you're a coach, like you got a coaching program or a how-to book or that kind of thing. Man, what a way to connect with the people that resonate with you, that resonate with your personality. And I can't tell you how many coaches that I've worked with who I've turned their books into audiobooks that it boosts their business. Now that they have people who actually hear them and go, you know what, I want to work with this guy, whether you're a weight loss coach or a relationship coach, or maybe a business coach, career coach, financial coach, they want to work with you because now they've heard you And that's such a great selling point for your program.
To your point, and I'm looking at it from the marketing side as well. When you
Hmm.
do an audiobook, instantly it elevates your game. It's almost
Yes.
like instant credibility. Um,
Yes.
you become a star, and you don't have to sound any way other than yourself, but it takes you to another level. Like, this is a legit author. Yeah, they're
That's right.
serious, you know?
That's absolutely right. You're branding yourself, that this is helping you brand yourself as an author by you having a book. First of all, by you having a book puts you as the expert in your field, in the space that your book is about. And having an audiobook now just ups that another level, because now people can not only read, but they hear your voice, they hear your unique style, the way you deliver. And again, that really resonates with people who want to work with you, especially if you're a coach. And ultimately, most nonfiction writers, the reason why they're writing their book is because not only do they have a story to tell, but there's a purpose behind it. Why write that book if you don't want to touch somebody's heart and soul, if you don't want to change somebody's life? That's
Mm.
really the core reason for authors who write these books, is tapping into their why. This is why I wrote this book, and this is why I'm telling my story. Because by me sharing my story and opening myself up, I hope that there are people out there who will hear my story and be touched by it as well. And maybe I can change someone's life. Even if it's one person, I've changed their life by them hearing my story. And, again, telling your story as opposed to just reading it really makes all the difference.
And even if you are reading it, you are telling it in your
Yeah.
style. So it's, I thought of another thing too. Spotify. Audiobooks aren't on there, but I liken it to this. When I see a music performer, even a local person, have uploaded their stuff with a profile on Spotify, right away, I'm like, whoa, all right, this is impressive. The world can find them now. And
Yeah.
it's kind of to me, it's kind of the same thing with audiobooks, not on Spotify, but the same kind of credibility where, you're looking through Amazon, John Doe, who wrote the, best coaching book ever, and you find it, and then you find the audiobook link. It's like, all right, you know what? This is it's a legit author. This is like the real deal. How about also, we can't ignore it. You're on the go. I have trouble finding time to sit down and read a book, but I can have time
Yeah.
to play it in my car, right?
Yeah, I tell you, people listen to audiobooks. So everybody's like, I'm so busy, I don't have time. But, that's a whole other issue that we can get into on another episode about time management and how not having time is the false belief, because you do have time.
Yeah.
But
Exactly. Coming from a coach, he knows.
that is one of the things that I teach, is like, this is how you can manage your time better. But again, sure, if you're on the go or you're traveling, or, whether you're on a plane or driving in your car, or, riding around in an Uber, going from one place to another, you can listen to an audiobook. You can still enjoy that book, no matter where you are. And you don't have to worry about, people who, like for me, I can't read in a car. I get car sick. I just can't do it. But if I'm listening, this is great. Now I can
Yep.
actually, I really want to get into this book. Well, I can't read it, and I got a 7-hour drive, right? I want to put on my favorite audiobooks. So this is, so that's great. It solves that problem right away.
Totally, totally. And also the visually impaired.
Yes. Now that is one thing I do want to talk about, because, the visually impaired, if you're blind and you're not able to, read, but you want to absorb books, audiobooks, hands down beats Braille. I mean, what a great way to be able to enjoy your favorite book by hearing the author narrate it to you. That is
Mm.
such a beautiful thing. So that's another benefit for all you nonfiction authors. If you got a published book, you know, turn it into an audiobook, because here's another audience that deserves to hear your book. If they can't physically read it, you are giving them an opportunity to hear your story. What a great thing. What a great thing to do.
There's so many benefits. I don't know. Are we missing some? I'm sure there's one that we left out. I'm trying to think of other
Well,
ones.
I'll tell you, I want to talk to some of these authors who maybe have had a book published. Maybe you published a book a year ago, or maybe you published a book 3 years ago, or 6 years ago, and you feel like, the life of my book is done. Not true.
Mm.
Not true. Because if you turn that into an audiobook, you're breathing new life into that great story that you've written. Who says it's dead? It's not dead. It's more than alive. You can relaunch your book. You can always relaunch your book. And by turning into an audiobook that you narrate yourself, what a great opportunity to relaunch your book, to say, hey, here's my book. And again, that gives you, from a marketing standpoint, opportunities to combine specials and deals and discounts. Buy my audiobook and get my ebook at half price, or
Sure.
buy my audiobook, and I'll send you my paperback, an autographed paperback at half price. Or there's so many things that you can do. And the most important thing is you're expanding your audience. You're expanding your audience into this audiobook world for people who may not have even heard of you, and now they have. So again, breathe new life into that book. It doesn't matter how long ago you wrote that book. You can still, again, always relaunch it as this new thing, because again, there are people out there who've never heard of the book yet. So do it. Turn it into that audiobook.
Based on even what you're saying, Robert, about breathing new life in, how about somebody relaunches, does the audiobook, and includes in the audiobook 10 secret tips to blank, whatever it might be, but you can only get it with the audiobook. So there's another way to breathe life into it and add more value to what you're doing.
That's right. Absolutely. When I published my book, I published a book. I'll show you here. It's called Lights Action You. I published last year. This is really based on career coaching, the career coaching aspect of my business. But the thing is, when you get the book, you get access to bonus materials and freebies, PDFs you can download, and folders of photos that aren't in the book, that you can check out. So there are all these extras that you can get. And yes, you can do that when you publish your audiobook. You just say, hey, you buy this book, you get this, it takes you to this link, and you can download supplemental material that goes along with the book if you wanted to. So again, that's another great way to do marketing for your book. Another benefit, of course.
I just thought of another thought here, and this is what's great. As we're talking, things just roll, and we come up with other ideas. Well, it's actually more of a question. Can you, or is this ever done for whatever reason, if somebody has a preference for it? Can you put music in the background of your audiobook?
Sure, you can. It really depends. I would say that most books don't, because they really want you to focus on what's being said, but it depends on the book. Making a big production out of it, is that really going to enhance the story that you're trying to tell?
I only bring that up if there is a valid reason for the music to be there. Maybe somebody has a vision for their audiobook. Maybe it's a transition from one chapter to another, whatever it is. But I don't know if there's a standard that says no music whatsoever in an audiobook. I don't know that. So I was just kind of curious if there was a reason.
I've heard people put in music. For example, I listened to an audiobook from a radio DJ, actually. And he was talking about his career, and really great story. And there were opportunities for him to share some things from his radio broadcasts.
Maybe a celebrity interview or something like that.
Right, exactly. Like a clip of Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham doing Landslide live in the studio, or something that was like a really moving experience, and would take a clip from that, or of something from a celebrity interview, and that would definitely enhance it. But again, don't do it just for the fact of being overly, produced, because that can distract and take away from your story. But again, in my audiobook coaching program, which is why I like talking to the authors before I even enroll them into the program, is finding out what their vision is, what their goals are, what do they want to do marketing wise, talk about what their book is about. And then we, have a game plan to then move forward with the audiobook coaching process.
And thanks for bringing up the point about the interview. That's a reason. That's a reason why you would put a clip in there. Maybe there's a reason you would put music. Yeah, I'm not suggesting put music throughout the entire audiobook. It can get kind of distracting, especially if you're
that would be.
Like a noisy environment. You just want to absorb the book, and then you've got all this other stuff, music or whatever going on. But if there's a reason, could be a simple reason that you want your kid's a musician and you wanted to start the book with music and then fade it down, whatever it might be. But I didn't know if it was possible. But to me, it seems like there are lots of different possibilities for your audiobook. If you have a thought, and that's where it comes to you, just ask Robert.
Yeah. Absolutely. Again, I mainly work with nonfiction authors, and usually they just want to tell their story. And it's great because, even when I'm working with, the authors that I'm working with now, and I do all the audio editing for them, so I really get to listen to their book. And, when I do my final output of their file before I upload it for publication, that gives me a chance to really dive into what is it that they're saying? I take off the editor's hat and I just want to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I'm so engaged into what these authors are talking about. Every book that I've done so far, I've loved it. And it just, the more that I do it, the more I just love listening to audiobooks. It's such a great thing to hear these authors narrate their own book. And don't think that you can't do it, because you 100% can. These authors are doing it. They're not professional speakers, but they're bringing their authenticity into it. And that's what matters.
Mm-hmm.
That's what takes it to that next level, because they're being themselves. And I get to hear them be themselves and tell their story. And you know what? I'm more engaged with them telling their story in their unique style than I would be with a professional voiceover person.
And for anybody that says, I have fear of public speaking, all right, you're speaking to yourself. There's nobody in the room. And if you make a mistake, that's okay. You fix the mistake. Anybody can do it. Literally anybody can do it. I wondered, why just nonfiction? What about somebody's written a children's book? Would that
children's book are? Yeah, that's a good point. Children's books are great, and I've heard authors. Like authors who go to libraries or read, their children's book, and, and they put their own personality and character into it. It's like nonfiction / maybe fiction, depending, what the story is. But children's book authors really do make great narrators.
I would imagine that.
Yeah. So really good point. Another benefit, of course, is if you're a children's author, you should narrate your own book, because you're going to put your own style and energy into it. And you should tell that story. And here's another thing. If you're thinking, well, my book has pictures in it and that and the other, that's where that supplemental freebies comes in and bonuses come in. When you buy the audiobook, you get the supplements, so that people who maybe buy your paperback or ebook or hardcover don't feel slighted when they get the audiobook, because they can still get all the pictures and everything that those formats also have. So there's another benefit.
And I have a few friends who are authors of children's books, and in a second, I can hear them do it. One of them, she may be a little slightly uncomfortable. She'll never take a selfie. I feel like we're all hanging out. You put up my camera, and she's like, ah. But she's so passionate about her book, and she does read it to kids in libraries. So I could see her, being perfect for that, and another friend, Joe, being perfect for that.
Right.
The only thing they don't have.
One more thing.
I was just going to say that the knowledge of how to do it, the equipment and all of that, and we didn't talk about that yet, but You get a box once somebody signs up with you, box comes to your doorstep, all the equipment you need, microphone, headphones, everything's in there. And of course, the
Yeah,
step-by-step instruction, 6 weeks, you're done. That's it.
that's right. That's right. If you sign up for the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program that I teach, I send you all the equipment you need. I show you how to set up your recording space.
Mm.
Step by step, very detailed. You can do that. And then the next phase is teaching you how to do a great narration, how to do voiceover, how to be compelling and engaging from beginning to end. And then once you're done recording all the audio files that you need for your book, you send them to me. I do all the post-production editing. I take my 20 plus years of editing experience, audio editing experience, and do all that work for you. And then I upload your files for you so you don't have to worry about it to Audible, to Amazon, to Apple Books. And then by the end of the 6-week program, your book is uploaded and ready for publication. So, it's a great thing. Now, there's video modules, there's all sorts of things, PDF references, everything you get in the program. And I'm there with you, coaching you, because we have our calls every week. And one very important aspect of the program, it's not just all this technical stuff. It's mindset work. It's how to, bringing emotion and those intangibles that are key factors to doing a great audiobook narration. So I teach you those things as well. It's not just, plug in, hit record, then you're done. It's no, let's really dive into the mindset aspect, being grounded, being focused, being in the present moment. You got to be in the right frame of mind before you hit that record button. So we really dive into that. And that's something that's unique with my program that other places who do produce audiobooks, they don't do that for you. They're like, here, fly to our studio on your dime. You have, 4 days to record your 250-page book. Good luck. And then you're done. And then you just hope that maybe you did a good read. There's no coaching involved. So, this is definitely a unique experience when you work in the program that I teach.
Is there any difference in terms of the length of somebody's book in the training, the fee, or anything like that?
Is there any, I'm sorry, what was that?
Any
difference?
additional fee? Like, let's say somebody has a book that's, I'm completely hypothetical here, but somebody has a book that's 50 pages, somebody has a book that's 75 pages or 100, or does it matter in terms of the fee that you charge with the length of the book?
No, I don't. I don't base it on page count or word count. We talk about the book, and again, if you wrote a book that's as big as War and Peace or something like that, I mean that's a pretty massive project, and you probably won't be able to get that narrated in the 6-week program. But I'm not going to turn you away if I believe in your book and you believe in your book and you're ready to do it. I will work with you. There may be an adjustment with the cost if it is something that's going to take double the time, because I do want to work with you, and I guarantee to work with you until your book is published. That would probably be the only thing about changing the fees. But I'm working on books that are 250 pages.
Okay.
And that's pretty hefty. But the cost is the same, and you can get that done in 6 weeks.
Wow. And ease, I know that we've talked about how the process works, where the author records a separate file and then sends it
Yes.
to you. Is that separate
Correct.
file per page or chapter?
It's divided up into sections, usually by chapter. You have opening credits, you have closing credits, which are mandatory. Then you have, like, say, if you have a dedication page or a foreword or a preface or an introduction, those are all separate audio tracks. Every chapter is a separate audio track. So if you have 14 chapters, in my book I had 14 chapters, that's 14 tracks right there. Then you have acknowledgments if you wanted to do a separate track for that, or you can include them as part of your closing credits. You're looking at maybe 15 to 30 audio tracks possibly that you're doing. But you know what? Don't let that sound like, oh my God. It's not a big deal. As a matter of fact, that's even a better way to record, because now you're doing things in sections. So you're not overwhelming yourself trying to read a 200-page book, in one sitting. You're not going to be able to do it. So it's better to do it in sections. And again, I'm there with you the entire process. So I'll make sure your energy level is consistent. I'll make sure that you're doing a great read. And if there is something that doesn't sound right, believe me, I'll let you know. And we'll make sure that this audiobook sounds fantastic.
And the other part of it is, if you can use a mouse and you can look at a computer screen and you can talk, guess what? and you have Robert, you've got an audiobook. A little bit of time, you've got an audiobook. It's that easy. There's nothing. Yeah. Don't be afraid. People are afraid of tech stuff, whatever. Super simple. The program, I know the one you're using, it has been around for decades for a reason. It's easy. People love it. and I love the fact that all of the stuff that you get, you keep. So let's say you're an author and you're looking, for book number 2 at some point, you can do another audiobook at some point as well when you get that book done.
That's right. I send you mic, headphones, all the equipment. You keep it. It's yours to keep. So, if you want to do another book, great. If you want to start a podcast, hey, you got yourself an awesome microphone.
Oh, there you go. I never even thought of that. All right. Hey, don't take my business away here.
Hey, sorry.
How do we find you? What's your website?
RobertLaneCoaching.com. It's real simple. RobertLaneCoaching.com. And just go to the page. It tells you more about the program. And there's just a button there to book a call. I want to talk with you first before I enroll you. Okay, that's important. It's not just like, give me your money, here's a page, sign up. It's no, I want to talk to you first. It's one human being talking to another human being. And let's establish a relationship before we even get enrolled. That's really important. And the last thing I just want to say is, don't be afraid. Action, take action. Don't be afraid. All right, you have the talent to do it, you do. You have the voice to do it, you have the confidence to do it. And if you don't, we're going to build your confidence.
You can do it. And it's just like going to school. You have a teacher. You have a question. Raise your hand.
I'm your accountability partner. I am your safety net.
Yes.
I'm there to help you throughout the process. And you're going to get a great product. And you'll be on Audible, Amazon, and Apple Books, man. The 3 major players, you need to be on those distribution platforms.
Yeah. And you take care of that too. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Robert, always great having you on here. Thanks for all the details. And I look forward next time we talk.
Sounds good, Steve. Thank you so much.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.